It's Masters Friday. Is it just me? Let's do this.
A New Breed of Golf with Michael Breed is brought to you by Titleist, the #1 ball in golf, and golf's symbol of excellence, and by FootJoy, and the new Tour S, their most powerful shoe ever, and by Golf Pride, the #1 grip on tour.
Welcome to A New Breed of Golf. I'm Michael Breed. So excited you could join me again in the studio here. And standing in front of the Microsoft Surface Hub, what I want you to understand is there will be two pivotal tee shots that are going to take place for each player, both on Saturday and Sunday. And it's the tee shot at 13 and the tee shot at 18. You've got to take advantage of the 13th hole, and coming down, particularly on the 72nd hole, we've got to make sure we get this into the fairway. Now, these two tee shots move in completely opposite directions. We saw what happened last year on Sunday when Sergio Garcia got to the 13th hole. He struggled with that tee shot, ended up making a fantastic 5, and then obviously went on, made that eagle at 15 and went on to win. When you get to where you're playing holes like this, you have to be able to curve the golf ball. What I want to talk to you about is how to make this curve. So on the 13th hole, this tee shot right here, it's going out like this, and it's going to spin the ball over from right to left to get that into the fairway and allow you a chance to get this onto the green in 2. Over on the 18th hole, now what we're dealing with is a completely opposite tee shot. So it's coming down the fairway, and then it's going to spin over to the right-hand side, avoiding these two bunkers and the second cut on the right-hand side. How are we going to be able to get this golf ball to turn? Well, so many of you are struggling with making the golf ball do what you want it to do because you don't understand the relationship between the path and the face. So what I've got here is I've got my Breed board, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I'm talking about when I need to hit a draw. So, assuming the yellow line is the straight line, if I'm right-handed and I want to hit a draw, I have to get this ball to start out to the right. I need to make sure that I'm swinging the path of the golf club along this blue line. And then the face of the golf club has to be pointing somewhere over here to the red line. If I have the face over to the blue line and the path on that, I'm going to hit a straight block. I need to make sure that that face is on this closed side so that I can get that golf ball to start a little bit inside the blue line and then turn. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on what we're doing with the path of this golf club first. I'm going to get a couple of tees. And I've got some holes in the Breed board here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up so it's blocking the out to in path of the red line. If I go out like this, you can see I'm going to hit those tees. What I want to be able to do is feel this golf club moving along the blue line here. So we're going to make a little bit of a swing, and you can go back on that yellow line and then feel that club going along the blue line. What is it that I'm doing to get that club to go along the blue line? Well, what I feel and what I want you to understand that you need to feel is this lead shoulder needs to go up into the air. When the lead shoulder goes up into the air, the club now drops behind you, and when it's behind you, now all of a sudden it's going to be able to go down that blue line. If I want to hit a bit of a cut and I want to start that ball out to my left, I need to block that inside path. So now I've set this up in this fashion, and now in order for me to get the club on the red line, what I feel like I'm doing is my lead shoulder is now going down. So as I start to feel the shoulder going down, it throws the club out this way, and now I'm onto that red line. So now I get a little feel for that. Put the Breed board down. Let's tee one up right here, and let's get a little look. Now, one of the things that I want to point out to you, and Gibbsy, if we can go to this screen, what we have here in the simulator, thanks to About Golf, is just to the right of our main range, we've got a par 4 tee shot, which is a dogleg to the left. Feels very much like the tee shot at 13 at Augusta. In fact, what we want to do is make sure that we're spinning this over from right to left, and those trees are guarding that inside left portion of the fairway. So, what I'm going to do here, Greg, do I have a green light? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up here, and when I come down into this shot, I'm going to feel my lead shoulder going up into the air. Now, I'm not working on the turn so much right now, or the spin of the ball, as much as I want that path to be moving along that blue line and starting this ball out to the right-hand side. So we've got a little gap out there where there's a bunker set up to that. And I hit that out on the toe, so that was a bad contact. That was, hold on a second. Uncle Mike gets a little bit of a mulligan on that one. You got to understand, it's April. It's early. I got to make sure I'm making my swings. Overdid that blue line there. Let's try that one more time. Okay, that was much better. So you can see that starting right at that bunker there, and that might have even had a little bit of a twist. So let's go up here and let's take a little peek at what we're seeing with two key things here. One is going to be my spin, and one's going to be my horizontal launch. So right now what we're working on is not so much the spin, but the horizontal launch. I want that horizontal launch to be to the right. Well, horizontal launch is right down here, and what you can see is that it's 6.5 to the right. That means that I got that club along the blue line. Now, what I also got was I got a little bit of side spin to the left. That was 276 RPMs to the left. And you know what that means? It's time to take a little peek at what that shot looked like. So Greg, if we could, let's rewind that, and you can see that ball is twisting to the left. How did I get that golf ball to twist to the left? How did I get that golf ball to start on the line that I want? Well, the key is it's all in the wrist. So when we take the club back and we start making this backswing and I'm feeling my position at the top, I want to feel my wrist either bowing or cupping. And when I bow or cup, what I get is I get a movement to the club face. So if I bow up like this, now I get a little bit of a club face that's shut, and now when I take that club and I start coming down, that shut club face is going to allow me to spin the ball over to the left. I'm going to show you what that means or how that looks. So this one here, we're going to now pay attention to what we're getting with the spin on this. And what I'm going to focus on is making sure that when I take this back, I feel that bowing in that wrist. That lead wrist is going to have a little bit of bow to it. So now we're going to go in here. And now what you're going to see is when I hit that shot there, all of a sudden, I'm going to get a little bit more spin. And look at the distance that I got there. This one is a much better number, but I still didn't put enough side spin on that. I only got my side spin up to 264. I need for me to be able to hit a draw. My spin ratio has to be into the 20s. So I got a little bit of work to do. And as we start to focus on what's happening with that wrist position, we're going to start to be able to control that club face. What I want you to pay attention to is what you're feeling in that wrist position when you're hitting that draw or hitting the fade. Now, let's talk about what we're doing with the fade. I already talked to you about what we're doing with that path, in that we're going to go down that red line. So I got to feel my left shoulder, my lead shoulder, dropping down in this fashion here. And what I want to do also is I want to focus on what's happening with my wrist position. Because at the top of the swing, if I get that wrist position into a bit of a cup position, and now I'm going down here, I've got my club face open a little bit. When it comes into the ball, it's going to give it a little bit of a deflection to the right. Greg, if we could, let's go across to the other side of the range, and let's get a little bit of a dog leg to the right. There you go. That's fantastic. So if you could swing me over to those bunkers, brilliant. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up here. I want to hit this shot so that it has a little bit of a spin to the right-hand side. And I want to start this out to the left. So now I started out to the left, and you can see it curving right back along the fairway line, right in the center of the fairway. So now let's go up here and check and see what we get with our side spin number, and our side spin number is at 1,300. That means that ball really was moving to the right. In my horizontal launch, I was a half a degree to the right, which means, you know what? It was actually close enough for government work, basically where we are. I still could have done a better job with the left shoulder, but it was really quite better. Remembering the other one was 6.5 to the right, so I altered that. By doing that with my shoulder, I moved that path about 6 degrees. Let's take a little peek at what that shot looked like. So you can see it start out, nice high trajectory. In fact, when we open up that club face, we're going to get a little bit more of a higher trajectory. That launch angle on that one was right around 14 degrees, and you could see how that ball spun back. So what did we learn today? Well, what you need to understand is that you have to be able to control what you're doing with your path, swinging in to out or out to in, and also what you're doing with that club face. And that club face is really focused on what will allow it to do what we want, is how we're manipulating that lead wrist. If I want to get a little bit of a draw, a little bit of a bow in that lead wrist is going to help. And if I want to get a little bit of a fade, I want to make sure that I'm getting a little bit of a cup. The key to this thing is your path and your face have to oppose one another. In other words, if I'm trying to hit a cut, I have to have my path going this way and my face going a little bit to the right of that path. And that's going to give me a cut. If I want to hit a draw, I have to have my path going out to the right, and my face has to be opposing that path just a little bit. It has to be to the left of the path. That's what you're going to do to be able to control that golf ball, be able to curve that ball the way you want, so that when you get to the 13th hole at Augusta National or the 18th hole at Augusta National, you know exactly what you're doing. You're not taken by the moment. As you come down with a chance to win the 82nd Masters, you're not nervous at all. You're standing up there going, you know what, I just watched a new breed of golf, and I know exactly how to handle this situation. Listen, thank you so much for coming in to the studio, learning a little bit about how you can control that golf ball. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you enjoy the 82nd playing of the Masters. We'll see you next time.